Hey everybody, it's Andrew back again with another video, and today I have a really good one, a business-focused 2-in-1 convertible. And of course, we're talking about the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Yoga Gen 8 here for 2023. Now, physically, it's the same as last year, although the shade is a little bit different on this storm gray finish, but for the most part, pretty much the same physically. Where you're going to see the changes are going to be under the hood. They now have this with a 13th gen processor. I have the one with a U series, so expecting a little bit better battery life, maybe a little bit more efficiency. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And it has a beautiful Full HD Plus display. It's a matte display, so you don't get any unnecessary glare or reflections. And they also offer this in a UHD Plus OLED display. I don't have that one, but of course, if you want to have the better pixel count, better for content creation, that might be the way to go. We're going to find out if the X1 Yoga Gen 8 is worth your money here in 2023. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is my review of the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Yoga Gen 8 here for 2023. Coming up. Now, before we get to the unboxing, I just want to let everyone know, in the interest of transparency and full disclosure, I'm not being paid by Lenovo. I'm not being sponsored by Lenovo. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Lenovo is not getting copy approval. That means they're seeing this video for the first time, just like you. Now, this unit is on loan from Lenovo, and once this review is done, I'll be sending it back. Pricing starts at $1,721.85 over at Lenovo's website. For those interested, I'll leave a link in the description below for more information and where you can buy one. Without further ado, you know the drill, folks. Let's get this out of the box. Okay, so we get some documentation. It says X1 Yoga Gen 8, as you can see there. Okay. And you get some warranty information, yada, yada, yada. Get your power cord there. And then, of course, here it is. And it is 65 watts, as you can see there, as it comes into focus. There you go. And you have your USB Type-C. Let's get to the unit itself. Of course, we have the color here, which is, of course, called the Storm Gray. Okay, you could see it here. This is the underside right there. And then you can see it here. Now, this is going to be all metal design, as we talked about earlier. It doesn't come in black like we saw in the X1 Carbon Gen 11. This is all metal, and I love this design. Now, some people want to see the black, but of course, the black we saw with the X1 Carbon does collect a lot of fingerprints. This is the opposite on this. This does not collect a lot of fingerprints, which is great. And it's got 1.411 kilograms. 3 pounds, 1.8 ounces. So this will be total weight, 3 pounds, 12.9 ounces, or if we want kilograms, we're looking at 1.726 kilograms. On the left side, we have two USB Type-C Thunderbolt 4 ports. Those are full function. They support data, charge, and display out. Next to that is your full-size USB-A port. That's one of two that you're going to have on this. And then an HDMI 2.0B port as far as that HDMI. That is always good to see. On this side is the silo for your pen. We'll get into that in a moment. A 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack. Another USB-A full-size port. I love that. And then a Kensington lock port right there. So overall, a pretty nice port selection. Now, it's really easy to get inside this laptop. All you need to do is loosen the 5 Phillips head screws. They're captive. You don't have to worry about losing them. Pry off the bottom plate with a guitar pick or a pry tool, or maybe even your finger. Sometimes it comes off that easily. And once you do that, you're in. Now, once inside, you'll notice the 2 small fans for cooling. We'll get into the thermal performance later on in this video. And you'll notice that 57 watt-hour battery. We'll get into the battery life as well later on. Now, as far as what's user upgradable, the SSD is user upgradable. There's a nice copper plate over it. That's always good. And as you can see, excellent reads and writes for the included SSD with my review unit. Really good stuff here. Now, according to Lenovo's press materials, you can now outfit this with up to 64 gigabytes of LPDDR5X RAM. That's up from the 32 gigabyte limit from last year. Now, unfortunately, the RAM is soldered into the motherboard, meaning you as the user cannot upgrade it yourself. But having the ability to get 64 gigabytes may be a big boon for a lot of people, especially for those that need that extra RAM requirement. That's been pretty good. I also noticed that it's running in quad channel, 8 out of 8 slots used, as you see here. That's also really great, and it's pretty fast RAM here. We're looking at 6400 megahertz. All told, pretty good performance out of that memory. And when it comes to wireless, you're looking at Wi-Fi 6E and a Bluetooth 5.1 combo card that is soldered into the motherboard. That means you as the user cannot upgrade it, although I'm seeing really great results here between the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth. No issues on either front, both working flawlessly. Now, you have the option for the mobile broadband. You can go with the 4G LTE Cat 16 modem, and that supports eSIM, or you can go with the sub-6 5G modem. That's a Cat 20 modem, which also supports eSIM. And of course, both support physical nano SIMs, of course. So that is great for the mobile world warrior that needs to get work done on the road. It needs a secure, always on connection. Okay, let's talk about the display, and there are actually a few different options, as you can see here. Now, the top of the line is the OLED option. Yes, you can get this with a 3840 by 2400 UHD Plus OLED option. It's an HDR400 display, a Dolby Vision display that can get as bright as 500 nits. Now, I don't have that one, but it's nice to have that option for those that need that higher pixel count, better coverage of the color gamut, and have a more color accurate option. That is certainly the way to go. Now, Lenovo sent over a Full HD Plus matte display. Again, no glare, no reflections to worry about. Now, last year, they sent over the glossy version of that Full HD Plus display. I actually prefer the matte display simply because you'll have to contend with less glare and reflections when trying to get work done, especially on a business commercial-focused laptop that we have here. Now, as far as this display is concerned, it's a decent coverage of the color gamut. It's not going to be the best. I think if you need better coverage, you're going to want to go with that UHD Plus OLED option. And it's pretty color accurate, but again, the OLED will probably be a little bit more color accurate as well. But it's a bright display coming in at 381 nits. It's a little bit less than the 400 claimed, but it really is a good display, especially when you want to get work done. It does have that 16:10 aspect ratio, which means you'll do less scrolling when it comes to web browsing. That means you'll see more on the display. That's good for productivity. But when you're consuming media that has been made for a 16:9 aspect ratio, you will see small bars on the top and the bottom. Not a big deal, but just something I wanted to point out. Now, as far as the refresh rate is concerned, this is 60 hertz. There's no option for a higher refresh rate like 90 or 120 like you get with other laptops. But again, with a commercial business-focused laptop that we have here, having the better battery life with 60 hertz is definitely more preferable than having the high refresh rate and having less battery life. The name of the game here is productivity, and that is certainly the focus here, that's for sure. And the touch layer has been working out really well, very responsive when it comes to navigating the OS with your finger, of pinch to zoom, it all worked well. And of course, this being a 2-in-1 convertible means you could put it into the different modes. You've got the tent mode, which is great for recipes in the kitchen on your downtime, consuming media. The same could be said for the stand mode, or what I like to call presentation mode. Great for a PowerPoint presentation during a meeting and so forth. It worked out really well. And of course, you can always put it into the tablet mode, although it gets a little bit heavy, over 3 pounds, of course, so you may want to use it on a desk or a table in the tablet mode for extended periods of time. But the occasional note here and there with the pen certainly works out well. Now, speaking of the pen, it stores and charges within the laptop, so you don't have to worry about losing it. Now, you can use other options, bigger options, more comfortable options if you want a more full-size pen, but having it store and charge in the laptop is certainly a nice convenience factor, certainly is great, especially if you don't want to lose it, of course. Now, taking notes, sketching out artwork has worked out really well. Again, I'm not a digital artist, but taking the notes here and there has been something I like to do on a 2-in-1 convertible. Okay, so this is the camera on the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Yoga Gen 8 here for 2023. This is a 1080p camera over here, 30 frames per second. What do you think about the video quality? What do you think about the audio quality? Let me know. This is an IR camera, allowing you to log in with face recognition with Windows Hello. The power button doubles as a fingerprint scanner for those that want to use that. Worked well, setup was easy. And for those wondering, it does have the studio effects built in here, and it has auto framing. This will always keep you in the frame, of course.
And then there's the eye contact for that creepy mode, as I like to call it. Always makes it appear like you're looking at your person you're talking with. And then, of course, you have the background blur effect, which I think works reasonably well here. And of course, that's great if you have a messy background. You don't want people to see your work environment and so forth. So that is pretty good. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. Now, one thing to note, there is a physical shutter switch above the camera that allows you to turn it off for more security and privacy. Overall, I would say a pretty nice job here by Lenovo. Again, I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments section below.
Okay, let's talk about performance, and this is running the Intel Core i7-1355U. That's 10 cores, 8 efficient cores, and 2 performance cores. It's a 15-watt CPU. It's got integrated Iris Xe graphics, and as you can see from these benchmarks, good single and multi-core performance for this ultra-portable convertible. Doing everyday tasks such as Microsoft Office, email, web browsing all worked well. And when I ran the Cinebench R23, got a single core score of 1,811. Pretty impressive here. And that, of course, will be good for everyday tasks. And then when I looked at the multi-core score here, it scored 7,762. Not the best in the class, of course, but that is a U series versus P and H series processors. So just keep that in mind, but good nonetheless for what you need this to do. Now, last year, I checked out the X1 Yoga Gen 7. That had a Core i7-1260p, a 28-watt CPU with 12 cores. Well, this year, they sent over one with the Core i7-1355U. That's 10 cores, of course, and that means you're getting 8 efficient cores and 2 performance cores, and this is only 15 watts as opposed to the 28 watts. So we're definitely seeing some improvement here, despite the fact that it has less wattage and less power than last year's model. But one thing these do share in common is the integrated Iris Xe graphics. And as I mentioned many times before, it is in dire need of an update, a refresh, really. And it's really getting a little bit long in the tooth. And as you can see from these results in the 3D Mark, Time Spy, and Firestrike scores, not much of a difference between these models year over year. So not really great in terms of the graphics performance. And as far as gaming is concerned, of course, as you know, this is not a gaming laptop per se, but you can get some playable frame rates if you lower some of the settings on some of the more popular titles. That, of course, has been the case with the integrated Iris Xe solution for the last couple of years. However, that being said, I wouldn't use this to do high-end video editing in terms of 4K video editing. I wouldn't use this for AAA titles. It's just not in the cards. But again, the occasional game here and there is definitely doable on this convertible laptop. And when I rendered a 3-minute H.264 4K video in DaVinci Resolve, it took 8 minutes and 25 seconds. To put that into perspective, the Asus ZenBook Pro 16X OLED did 1 minute and 32 seconds to render that same video. So for video playback, it's fine, but for video rendering, not the greatest solution here. But one thing I did notice is the fact that it does thermal throttle under heavy load. When I ran the Time Spy stress test, it got a failing score of 72.4%, meaning it detected thermal throttling under heavy load. So you will notice a degradation in performance in a heavy sustained workload environment. So just keep that in mind. Now, as far as the surface temperatures are concerned, I didn't notice it getting overly hot under heavy load, although it got about 45, 46 degrees on the top of the keyboard, and on the underside, it reached about 51, 52 degrees Celsius, so a little bit warm on the bottom, but nothing overly concerning there for the most part. But again, it got a little bit warm there. Now, as far as the fan noise is concerned, it was about 41, 40 decibels. It would go between the two, and never overly distracting, never too loud in terms of the fan noise, so that's been pretty good. Now, when it comes to battery life, this has the same 57 watt-hour battery as its sibling, the X1 Carbon Gen 11 that I recently reviewed. For those that didn't see it, I'll drop a link in the description below to that review. Check it out. It's a really good one. Now, as far as the battery life is concerned, PC Mark 10 Modern Office test, it did 10 hours and 52 minutes. And when I did the video playback test, it did a whopping 15 hours and 37 minutes. And when I compared it to one of its competitors that I recently reviewed, the Dell Latitude 9440 2-in-1 with its 160 watt-hour battery. That did 12 hours and 45 minutes on the Modern Office battery test, whereas this did 10 hours and 52 minutes. But it did better on the video playback, 15 hours and 37 minutes versus the Latitude 9440, which did 12 hours and 40 minutes. So pretty interesting results. Either way, you're getting good battery life, whether you go with the Latitude or whether you go with the ThinkPad here. Both did very well on the battery tests. And for those wondering, yes, you can open the lid with one finger. Now, as far as the hinges, they're rock solid on this. I saw very little, if any, screen wobble when I was typing, something that can be a little bit annoying. Not the case here. Pretty good. It's also got a spill-resistant keyboard, which I always love. And this, of course, has a ThinkPad keyboard, my favorite, of course. And the tactility was good. The key travel was good. The overall typing on it has been excellent and exactly what you'd expect from a ThinkPad keyboard. Great for productivity. Now, it does have a multi-stage backlight that allows you to get work done in a dark room or a dimly lit environment. That worked well. The trackpad worked well as far as scrolling and doing all the gestures. Everything seemed to work as you'd expect. And it also has the Trackpoint. That, of course, is part of the ThinkPad DNA. Now, the X1 Yoga Gen 8 sports Dolby Atmos speakers, and that's going to help with the spatial audio. And for a 2-in-1 convertible, the sound is actually pretty good. Now, let's give it a listen. I actually think the sound is really good here. The volume was good, the mids were decent, and there was some bass. Overall, pretty good sound. Okay, let's bring it all home. What do I think about the X1 Yoga Gen 8 here for 2023? Really great Full HD Plus IPS display. It's a matte display. I love that. And it is a touch display. Really good here, folks. Really good for battery life as well. But there's also the UHD Plus OLED option for those that need it. It's got good battery life if you go with that Full HD Plus option. Excellent keyboard, 4G LTE and 5G options, and great port selection overall. Negatives, there's no high refresh rate option, it throttles under heavy load, it has soldered RAM, and this can get expensive, although companies tend to get discounts when they buy them in bulk. But there's no doubt about it, ladies and gentlemen, this is still one of the best, if not the best, 2-in-1 convertible on the market. You can't go wrong if you go with the X1 Yoga Gen 8 here for 2023. I especially love that Full HD Plus matte display. That's something I really do like. It's highly recommended, folks. Check it out. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course my website, amdtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.